Happy Wednesday. Happy Wednesday. If you know it's 8:35 Eastern time on Wednesday, you know I am right here each and every week. Hopefully you're having a great week or a great Thursday morning for some of you because you're either watching or just catching this on replay. And I don't mind at all because it's pretty early in the morning in Europe, right? So, if this is your first time seeing me, I'm Dr. Tawana Carter, and as a career coach, I empower stress busy women executives tackling imposter syndrome, self criticism, and doubt to help them alleviate their stress so that they can find peace of mind and focus on excelling in their careers. Tonight, I am talking about overcoming anxiety and managing up with your supervisor, right? And so, yes, if it's your first time here again, I'm a career coach. I really wanted to talk today again just about managing up. I don't know about you, but early on in my career, I wish someone would have spoken to me about being able to manage up with confidence, right? Even when an anxiety kicks in. And that's what we're talking about tonight. So, if you can hear me, drop a one in the comments, or better yet, if you can hear me, drop what temperature you had today, right? Because I'm in Maryland. It was cold today. I'm sorry. It's May 3rd, and I walked outside thinking, yes, it's May. It'll be warm. It was not. So let me know what temperature you had today because I want to go where the warm weather is. Old man winter keeps playing with us, right? I'm going to turn on my comments over here. I do welcome your comments. And again, if you are just joining me, I'm Dr. Tawana Carter, and today we're talking about unlocking the secrets, right? Unlocking the secret to managing up with confidence, even when your anxiety kicks in, right? So let's see if anybody out there has dropped in their temperature today. I tell you, I was disappointed. Oh my gosh, I was really disappointed today. Whew. I expected like 67 just because it was May, but anyway, we shall soldier on. Please feel free to drop comments in the comments over there. I don't know if they're down there for you or they might be over there and I might be over there, but drop the comments. I welcome your comments. Okay. So let's go ahead and get started. Right. And so, really, this is a topic that my ladies often struggle with is managing up. And sometimes some supervisors is difficult. And that's bad enough. But when you have your own challenges because you're anxious, managing up to your supervisor can be a struggle, right? It is a necessary skill, but it can be a struggle. So we're going to go through some effective strategies today that will help you build a strong relationship with your supervisor, as well as just being able to overcome anxiety in the process. So let's dive right in. So the first thing to do, I want you to do is understand anxiety and its impact. So it's really important to recognize how anxiety can actually it can affect your interaction with your supervisor. Anxiety can often lead to overthinking situations, hesitating to share your ideas because I don't want to be wrong. What if that's not right? What if he doesn't want to hear? What if she doesn't want to hear? Or even it can affect you by, making you avoid communication. So this was my big thing in my first leadership position was avoiding the confrontation, avoiding the communication, avoiding everything. And oftentimes by my avoiding, things got way out of hand and people are always forming their opinions about me or what I could or could not do because they didn't hear my voice because I was too afraid to speak up. All right, I need to turn one of my phones off somewhere. There it is. It just lit up, I think. Yeah, hold on a second. Yep, I'm right. It was actually on. Whew. Glad I caught it before it rang in the middle of the live. So definitely, by acknowledging the presence of anxiety, you can really begin to confront it and develop those strategies to manage it and minimize its impact on your work relationships. So key number one, tip number one, when we're talking about, you need to build strong communication skills. So one of the keys to managing up is effective communication, right? But when you're feeling anxious, it can be hard to express yourself clearly. The doubt kicks in, and you're like, I feel foolish if I speak up. And early on in my career, it's like my throat would freeze and words wouldn't come out. I kind of knew what I wanted to say, but it's as if my throat would literally freeze and it would sound like a little pipsqueak coming out. Actually, that is one of the symptoms of anxiety, right? So here are some tips to improve your communication skills. Number one, you want to really actively listen to your supervisor's concerns and feedback. Write it down. Just write it down. Don't depend on your memory when you're going, oh God, what if I get it wrong? You have all these 1,001 thoughts zooming. Don't really depend on your memory. Just write that stuff down. Have a little tablet with you at all times. It's one of the ways that I learned how to type while people talk, because I wanted to get what they wanted down. Write it down. Then once you've written it down, you listen well, ask clarifying questions when you don't understand something. It's not a hit on you. It doesn't make you look bad, but it really lets your supervisor know that you're listening and you have those questions that you come back and ask. It's like, okay, yeah, I that's what I said, but it's not quite what I meant. And you'll get that sometimes when you talk to your supervisor. Then the next thing is summarize the conversations to ensure that you're on the same page, right? I had this great example. I can remember I was, staying with my parents at the time, and I was repotting a plant, right? And so when my daughter came in, I asked her to go get the flower. I didn't say plant, I said go get the flower. So my daughter was about 6 years old at the time. She went into the kitchen and brought me a bag of flour. And I was like, I didn't ask you. And my dad was like, hold up, hold up. No, 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 no. You told her to bring a flower. That's exactly what she did. She brought you flour. When you don't summarize conversations, it could easily happen, right? Because I said flower, meaning a plant for a flower. She went and brought a bag of flour. We both did the same. We were thinking flower, but it was two different connotations of flower. So be sure that you summarize what you hear so that you're on the same page. And guess what? Email works great right here. Go sit down at your desk, get off the telephone. So what I hear you saying is this, and you like this. Do I have that right? Is there anything you'd like to add? Just that clarification works well, because sometimes when people talking, especially when your managers, they have a lot of things going on. Sometimes they have more than one. When you give it back to them in writing, they can go, that's quite not, that is what I said exactly, but I don't want that. I need this. Right. And so remember that practice does make perfect. So take some time to work on these skills. Very important. All right. So the next thing, number 2, you want to definitely set boundaries and manage expectations. It's so crucial to set and establish clear boundaries, right? And so that you can manage the expectations, and that helps to alleviate anxiety. Have those open conversations with your supervisor about your workload, about the priorities, and make sure that he or she understands your capabilities. And you should also understand what you're capable of. That doesn't mean you're not willing to take stretch assignments, but you want to work like at the edge of your comfort, so you're always growing. So do be realistic by setting realistic expectations, and that can reduce the pressure on yourself and then minimize the chance that you get overwhelmed because you're just operating completely outside of your comfort zone. Now, again, it's okay to operate outside of your comfort zone, but every day as a normal circumstance, you begin to get overwhelmed. Okay? So number 3, do prepare for meetings. I can't say this enough. Prepare for a meeting. Yes, there are people who can walk in the door late, sit down at a meeting, and they're fine. But when you have anxiety, that may not be you. So you need to prepare. Anxiety can make it difficult to think on your feet, right? So what you'll want to do is do the essential things to prepare for meetings with your supervisor. And guess what? I got some tips for you here. 3 tips. Create an agenda with the topics that you want to discuss. or create an agenda, or if you've been given an agenda, memorize it, be intimately familiar with it, right? And not only that, number two, anticipate questions or concerns that your supervisor might have. Now, I learned this, prior Army. I learned this is anticipate the commander's command. That is a skill that I learned to do, and I still do it now. And when I was working for other folks, working for people, I would go to a staff meeting, I would look at that agenda, and what I would do is what if? What if someone asks this question? What if someone asks that question? What if they ask this? And I would have answers to all those potential questions to be asked. So when I would go into a meeting, I was ready. But the thing that was really great about that is I'd be sitting next to my supervisor, and there's a question that can come up and I can feel his or her agitation that they didn't quite know that answer. I did, because I was prepared. I would write it out and slide my notes to my supervisor. And I did that one meeting, and she just kind of looked at me. She read it, and she was like, she nodded her head very softly. And then I slid it back over to myself. And when the question came up, she got to answer that question and look good. But guess who she, credited with that? Me, because I had done my work. It is the best thing for managing anxiety. Be prepared. Be a little bit over prepared. It really helps. Okay. And then the last thing is prepare your talking points to feel more confident in your delivery. Power poses work really well here. Before meeting, take those 5 or 10 minutes to do your power poses, the Wonder Woman pose, cross your hands, right? Any of those things. Plant your feet about shoulder width wide when you do that. They really work. They really increase the testosterone. So they do make you feel more powerful and you feel more confident. They actually work. So I definitely suggest that you do those power poses here. Okay. And so if you're following, this is number 3. Build a trusting relationship. Build a relationship of trust, right? So a trusting relationship with your supervisor is so essential in managing up effectively. So you want to always be reliable, be honest, and be open in your interactions. I remember being in Huntsville, Alabama, and delivering to a group of military spouses, Marines reserves, and someone asked a question. I didn't know the answer, and I said, "Let me write that question down, and I'll come back with an answer for you." And so someone else asked a question in a slightly different way, and someone else followed up. So it was three times that I got asked that question, and I said, I don't know the answer to that. I'm not going to stand here and blow smoke up your nose pretending I do. I don't know. When I get back, okay, I will research the answer for you and you'll get an answer. I promise I will return with you, to that answer. And I got to tell you, even with me saying, I don't know that answer, and acknowledging that I didn't know, when I got done with that particular meeting, they all came up to me afterwards and said, you don't need to send anyone else. Tell your boss you're the only person we ever want to come brief us again. Because I was honest. I answered their questions and the stuff that I didn't know. I just said, I don't know. Let me look that up for you. Let me look it up and get back to you. That's being honest and open. It goes a long way, right? And by demonstrating that you are dependable and accountable employee, you will create this foundation, a very strong foundation for a positive working relationship. Okay. Anybody out there been told anything opposite than saying, I don't know? I've been around for a while, right? I know that there are some spaces that they tell you, never say, I don't know. Really, people know when you don't know. If you don't start rolling out with the right answer within a few seconds, they already know you don't know, right? And so there's nothing wrong with, let me check on that and get back to you. I'm not sure about that answer, but let me follow up with you and get that back. And what I did in those situations, I stopped, right? And I always have a tablet by me to record these things. And I stopped, literally wrote the question down, who asked the question, and therefore I was like, I got it written down. I will get back to you. But you always want to follow up. That's important. You don't ever want to tell someone that and then don't follow up, because then your trust is kind of shaky at that point. Okay. So number 4, seeking feedback and embracing growth. Don't be afraid to ask for feedback from your supervisor. Iron sharpens iron. Whatever you get, if it's not quite to your liking, I don't like that. I wish well, guess what? If you don't like it, you can do better. You don't have to wish I could do better. You actually can follow through and do the research and be better, right? by showing a willingness to learn and improve, you'll demonstrate your commitment to your role and your desire to grow professionally. It's not a hit if you don't know something. There's just way too much information for any one person to know everything. Right. And then understand that constructive feedback can also help you to alleviate anxiety because it provides you with a clear focus, a clear goal or intention, and a way to move towards improvement. Right. And then number five, if I'm keeping them correctly, utilize stress reduction techniques. And this is something that, I have ladies that will come to me solely for anxiety management. So yes, I'm a career coach steeped in anxiety management. I have social anxiety. And so I go through my little steps before I get on live or I talk to people, but I am definitely steeped in managing anxiety. That's one of the things that makes you stand out from some career coaches, right? So it is essential to manage your anxiety in the workplace because otherwise it will have you off and running to the races on the wrong idea and feeling like you can't ever keep up or do things right. So here are some effective techniques. I have 3 techniques for you. I might throw in an extra one, right? These are some effective stress reduction techniques to include. So do practice breathing or meditation. There's just so many ways you can do this, right? It really is. But understand, why does breathing work? Why does meditation work? When you practice breathing, you get extra oxygen to the brain. And it does, after you get so much extra oxygen, it does trigger your brain to relax. We have enough oxygen, feels pretty good. Let's just be alert, but we don't have to be anxious. Okay. Number 2, take breaks throughout the day to rest and recharge. We are our most creative when we're at rest, not when we're in flow. I think a lot of people think, well, when I'm in flow, my ideas are coming, yeah, it's good. But we're way more creative when we take time and space in our lives to take those breaks and reset. Okay. And then number 2, gauges some type of activity where you're moving, walking, swimming, rowing, bowling, tennis, whatever your thing is, right? Or your hobby is. Some people like to garden, some people like to hike. You'll always want to do that because you'll create the different chemicals, especially when you're exercising to a certain point. You get those endorphins that kick in, and it really helps to bring down the anxiety 1,000 and to help you rest. Okay. And then also you'll want to incorporate these techniques into your daily routine, not just when you're nervous, not when you're afraid, but all the time. I often tell my clients, practice these things 6 to 8 times a day. Make it by rote that you automatically breathe or you automatically do these things. And when you get anxious, your body will say, hey, you need to breathe. Look how tight you are. Look how anxious you are. Really, it helps when you practice that much because it becomes second nature almost. Okay. And so there you have it. All the things that you need to do to learn how to effectively manage up with your boss. I want to be sure I don't have any questions over there. Don't see any questions, but these are the secrets to really unlocking, right? The secrets to unlocking so you can manage up with confidence, even when your anxiety kicks in, because now you have those things that you can do. Take those breaks, do the breathing, engage in physical exercise to keep that anxiety at bay. So by focusing on communication, setting, great boundaries, building trust, you can create a positive and productive relationship with your supervisor, even when anxiety tries to sneak in and throw you off your game. All right. Thank you for being here with me today. You made it to the end. Appreciate that. Those of you who are live, appreciate you catching this live today. For those of you catch a replay, drop replay in the comments and thank you for catching the replay. So get ready for next week because I'm talking about discover the path to mastering anxiety-driven perfectionism and overthinking. Whew, that's a lot, but it is a lot when you do it. I know I used to be that person. So do join me here, same time next week, 8:35 Eastern time, 7:35 Central, 5:35 Pacific time. Did I say that right? I did. Sometimes I miss up that Pacific time. Ooh, I said it twice. Yes. Thanks for being here with me today. And I hope you have a great rest of your evening or great rest of your Thursday. Take care.